Good morning, children. Welcome to my class. In this class, you will study matter around us. So, you also study what are the characteristic properties of particles of matter and how they are arranged with different activities.
Good morning, children. As you know that we are all living on the massive earth. This entire earth and the entire universe is made up of matter. In your previous classes, you studied matter exists in three states. What are the three states of matter? Solid, liquid and gases. See this one. You take the chair, you take the water, this water. This water exists in liquid form. Next, the air we breathe exists in gaseous form. Then, what is the matter made up of? Let us explore what is matter made up of with our day-to-day life examples. See this one. I have taken a glass full of water. Now, I have taken a tablespoonful of salt and I dissolved salt in water. You observe this one. I stirred it. Observe this carefully, children. Now, any salt particle is visible to you. Where does the salt has gone? Do you find any salt here at the bottom? No, there is no salt. So with this experiment, we can clearly say that the salt is completely dissolved in water. Salt is made up of tiny particles which is not visible to our naked eye. Why the salt is dissolved in it? Because there is the gap between the particles of the water. Within that gap only the salt particles completely occupied. Are you clear about that one? Next, another example, how tiny the particles of matter. Let us explore. This is the food color. So I have taken a pinch of food color, a small quantity of food color. See this one, just small, very small quantity. You observe this one. You observe this. What happened? The small quantity of food color. See, once again, you look carefully. Do you observe the change in the color of the water? Okay. You observe this carefully. There is a change in the color of the water. What made the water to color? The food particles which are present are made up of tiny particles. They are completely dissolved in water and they occupy the gaps in the water molecule. So with this experiment, we can say that there are the gaps in the particles of matter. Next, at the same time, we can also say that the matter is made up of tiny particles which we cannot see with our naked eye. Now listen to me. Children, let us verify particles of matter attract each other with a small experiment. See this one. This is the metal spoon. What I am doing, I am trying to break the metal spoon. See this one. Is it possible to break? It is not possible to break. Why it is not possible to break? There are strong forces of attraction are there between the particles of this metal spoon. Next you observe this piece of chalk. See this one. I break the piece of chalk with a little bit force. So the forces of attraction present between the particles of the chalk are very weak when compared with the spoon. So the forces of attraction present between the particles varies from substances to substances. In the case of liquids also, forces of attraction are present between the particles of the liquid. In the case of gases also, forces of attractions are present, but they are very weak. Now come to the point. The particles of matter move continuously. They move continuously. For example, you take this one. See, I have taken some water. I am adding some food color. See this one. I am not stirring it. But they are continuously moving. You observe this one. The color is spreading. Without the application of any physical force or without any stirring. The color is spreading throughout the liquid. So with this experiment, we can conclude that particles of matter move continuously. They move continuously. Now, next. You observe this one, children. This is the incendic stick. I lighted the incendic stick. You observe this one. The smoke is spreading on its own. No wind is blowing. Once again, you observe this one. See this one. Now, the smoke is spreading on its own. No wind, no air is there, no wind is blowing here. So, without application of any force, the particles of matter are continuously moving. They are spreading. So, this smoke is entering into the air around us. This phenomena is known as what we call it diffusion. Particles of matter mixes with the particles of other substances. This phenomena is known as diffusion. So what is diffusion? Diffusion is a phenomena of occupying the entire space available by the solids, liquids and gases. But gases diffuse more rapidly than the solids and liquids. Solids also diffuse. You take the case of camphor and naphthalene ball. If you keep in our open places in our rooms, see, after few days they disappear. Means the camphor or the naphthalene balls diffused into the surroundings. At the same time, in my earlier experiment, I have shown the food color diffused in water. So the particles of matter always tries to move from place to place and try to occupy the entire space available. The rate of diffusion of gases is very high. Next one, with respect to the regarding the movement of the particles, I will show how the particles are moving. Imagine these are the particles of solid. These are the particles of solid. See this one. This is the, can you see this one? They are vibrating. They are vibrating from their mean positions. So in solids, particles are closely packed. Particles are closely packed and vibrate from their mean positions. Next, you take this one. You take this one. This is liquid. So in the case of liquid, the particles are separated by larger distances when compared with the solids. This is the vibration of the liquids. They slide on one another. Next, you take this one. Imagine these are the particles of gases. The distance between the gases particles is very, very large. Very, very large. They move randomly in all the directions. They move randomly in all the directions. So, what are the characteristics of particles of matter, children? Particles of matter are very, very tiny. Second one, there is the empty spaces between the particles of matter. Next one, they move randomly. They move randomly, or they move from one place to another. In solids, particles move from their mean position. That is known as the random motion. Random motion. In gases, the particles, gases, molecules move with a high speed, random motion. That phenomena is known as what we call it diffusion. They always tries to occupy the entire space available. They move from place to place and try to occupy the entire space available. Are you clear about that one? Next, there is a strong forces of attraction present between the particles of matter. We proved with the spoon experiment, with the piece of chalk experiment. Okay, you try to break the water flow, but the water flow gets attracted as soon as you cut it, because the forces of attractions are present between the particles of the water. Okay.